Baltimore and as much football talk. This guy here, though, is making us talk about football. He's one of our favorites. He is a local guy and a Gilman grad that's gone off and done some great things, even for a little bit of cup of coffee here. Maybe it was more like a glass of iced tea with the Ravens a few years back. He is now with the Detroit Lions as a defensive end and a special team standout player and doing camps here. And the camps are so darn popular that when he booked himself on the WNST, we thought, well, we'll promote this and have some kids come on. And it turns out the thing's already oversold. Brandi Coppola joins us again live via satellite from his palatial estate in New Jersey. He will be here in Baltimore after the holiday. July 8th, the camp opens up. I'm going to get you all the details on it. Beyond the basics, and he does this every year. It's a free youth football camp for the community here in Baltimore over at Gilman. First off, congratulations. You survived the NFL another year, Brandon, so hats off to you for that. And I know you're breaking for camp in a couple weeks out in Detroit, but welcome home, as they like to say around here, man.
Right. Thank you so much. Like you said, hats off to that. Another year in the NFL, you got to be grateful for that. So now it's looking and retooling up for next year. So
I was going to say, man, how you feeling and all that good gobbledygook, but, you're going to camp in a couple of weeks. I bet you feel like $1 million right now. It's all good till you get punched in the mouth the first time, like Mike Tyson says, right?
Exactly. It's all good. Your body's unbruised and everything like that. You can get full night's rest without turning over and feeling the ache or pain, and then you get to that first day of training camp, or really that first day of pads, and you kind of get broken back in to what football is all about. So, I'm looking forward to it as always. For me, it's a good. I always call them my therapy sessions. Get some my anger management. Work some of my anger out and all that type of stuff on the field and on hopefully an opponent. This fall, but I'm looking forward to it. Right now, we're just training up and getting ready and preparing for battle. So.
Well, you've been moving around here a little bit, right? From Philadelphia back to Baltimore, out to Detroit. Your wife's from up in the New York, New Jersey area. You've relocated there. But the coming home part of this camp, you've laid some groundwork for this, and I know you've surrounded yourself and always did from Gilman on and, everything, the great Joe Ehrman and the people that have been around you and your grandfather, of course, who I saw play with the Colts a billion years ago. But, you find a little home base and you do things. But, you're part of the young guns and the millennials in the NFL that, look, every one of you is doing a number of these things, not only on your own, but with your teammates who are doing them in other cities, with your college buddies, with guys you played with or friends of friends of friends, that, there's a guy like you from the league out sometime this month playing 60 with somebody, right?
Yeah, so, it's a blessing. The NFL platform is quickly fleeting. So for me, to get the chance to come back home, more so and be able to give back to my community, the community that made me, that's great. And then for me to actually have, I guess, the quote unquote platform, I help out in other people's, initiatives, camps and everything like that. But to have the platform to be able to give other people the chance, players and non-players, to get a chance to help out and give back to the community of Baltimore, that's the most exciting thing to me. We have literally 132 volunteers, which is pretty crazy. And it's a blessing. It just shows how many people are willing to come and help and want to be a part of putting a smile on someone else's face. So we have 18 NFL players coming. Like you said, we've been able to
18 NFL. So every time one of these camps go on, for the guy like you, and look, I remember back when Jamie Sharper was doing this here 20 years ago, and Ray Lewis has done stuff, and Reed's done stuff. We've had plenty of guys doing this stuff, but it's never like it's got your name on it. But there's always like everybody in your cell phone, right? Literally, that you can get. It's kind of like Ladarius' softball gig last month, and there's a lot of that, and charity basketball, and all those things. But it does give you a chance to get into your phone, right, and read. Torrey Smith does a thing here every year. It was down at the Royal Farms Arena, and that's the kind of thing that a guy like you gets involved in because you happen to be in the neighborhood, right?
Yep. And it's fun. For excuse me, for players, the chance to come back, or really, for me, I guess it's coming back. But I have guys who are coming to help out in Baltimore that have no affiliations with Baltimore at all. I have some teammates from Detroit who are driving in or flying in, the night before the camp or the morning of the camp. I have friends from college, teammates from college, high school, who are literally flying from Mississippi, Chicago. The ones I have one of my young mentors or mentees, I guess. But a guy, he just got signed to the LA Chargers. He's flying in from LA to come help out, at my camp in Baltimore.
Hey, by the way, how long did you have to practice to say LA Chargers? Because I don't think I'm ever going to say that. You know what I mean? It just rolled off your tongue, and I'm like, did he just say L.A. Chargers? I don't know that that term has ever been used here. The Los Angeles Chargers. Congratulations, you're the first one to use it.
There we go.
Weird, man. Some people in the Indianapolis Colts are still weird for your dad, right, or your granddad, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Who's coming? Who's the biggest star besides you?
Right. Torrey Smith.
Oh, well, there you go.
Hit the nail on the head. Yeah,
boy, that's a shocker. Torrey Smith showing up and helping kids in the summer. Wow, I'm shocked.
Right.
Who would have thought?
Exactly.
For you and Gilman, and for that association, and for the community you grew up in, and following this dream that's now led you to Detroit. I see you as a guy collecting good people at this point. Why do you do this? Whose idea was this?
So this was an idea that stemmed. Well, it's from my fiance and I. Actually, she is very passionate about giving back to kids, helping kids realize their potential is how she would best describe it, and realize their full potential and helping them, maximize, what they have. And so, for me, growing up, I've always wanted to throw a football camp, which has been great. But now it was about, how can we do things differently? For me, football is a means to an end. It's always been since high school. To be honest with you, in high school, I didn't really like football that much. I thought I was good at it. My body and my build made me, made me better at football than I was at basketball. But at the end of the day, I was like, we work out every single day of the year and we play 10 times. This is pretty ridiculous. Where basketball, you can play 3 times in a week and, have fun and all that type of stuff. So, for me, football has always been a means to an end. And, while I enjoy my life, my football life and coming out to a packed Detroit Lions stadium and, hearing the crowd get loud, on third down and all that type of stuff, I also realize that it's guaranteed that this life will be over. So taking that,
it's NFL. It's not for long, bro. Right? You know that. Everybody tells you that.
Exactly. So taking that philosophy and trying to roll that up into what we provide to these kids, it has been the sticking point or the foundation of our camp. So the last thing we think about is football. Now, while we have a bunch of great people coming out to help these kids with football drills and speed and agility training, we have some things. We're really focused on introducing these kids to people we deem as quote-unquote role models. So a role model at our camp is, like I said, maybe a teammate from college who's now a lawyer, a doctor, a teacher, engineer, et cetera, just all different walks of life. At the end of the day, these people are doing things in the right way and successfully. And the biggest thing for me was, how do we introduce kids to people who look like them and who are down to earth, cool, and humble, and in an organic way, so that the kids that they leave our campus say, man, Torrey Smith is cool, Brandi Coppola is cool, but hey, let me be like such and such person I met this morning who was encouraging me throughout the day. He pushed me throughout the day. He helped me. He picked my brain. He asked me some questions. He uplifted me, uplifted my spirits. And guess what? He happens to be a lawyer. I never knew lawyers could be cool. The only time I've seen lawyers are on TV in some terrible roles, probably, and that makes me not want to be a lawyer or an engineer or whatever it is. But if we can show these kids that, hey, like, these are perfectly great avenues outside of the realm of athletics, Or, you know,
well, you're going to be something else when you
to
grow up, Brandon. You're not going to be a football player forever. I mean, even if you're a football player, you're going to do something else next, right? And I guess part of that is being identified with that. I know that's never been your gig, you know. I mean, and it's very obvious from talking to you at any point. You know your role in the league. You're never going to make $100 million in the league. You're just trying to get your 3 to 5 to 7, however long you can play that, and you're always trying to get better. But, I mean, you see how hard it is. You see how hard it is for everybody and how fleeting it can be, right? And how quickly you can be on one team and the other, like Torrey this year, or you can be on one team last year and out of the league. And, I mean, you were one of these guys attending combines and camps trying to get noticed, right?
Yep, exactly. So, you know, for me in my own roller coaster career, obviously it's a message that I preach to everyone I come into contact with, whether it's kids, students from the middle school level, elementary level, to college kids, players, teammates now. You know, I actually got the chance to talk to the rookies a few weeks back for the Lions rookies, and just, you know, voice exactly what you just said. You know, this platform is quickly fleeting, so, hey, get as much out of it as you can. Introduce yourself. Step out of your comfort zone. Introduce yourself to people. Try to go shadow people. If there's something you're interested in, you know, you don't have to take on an internship or take on a full-time career doing it, you know, but go sit down and see what it's all about, because while you're an NFL player, there are more people who are willing to sit down with you, teach you, help you learn, rather than when you're not or if you weren't. So, you know, take advantage of this opportunity.
Give me all this Wall Street stuff. I mean, you know, I think you Google your name these days, and there's a Wall Street gig. Give me the lowdown on all this.
Yeah, so that you know, I actually had that similar internship my rookie year, the spring of my rookie year. That was a couple weeks, but that was more of exactly as I just said, that was more of a shadow role. So, you know, I started working with Weiss Multi-Strategy Advisors in New York City. I stayed out there for 2 weeks, and I would literally, you know, shadow different desks, different roles, different traders in the firm. And then they sent me out to other firms around on Wall Street, J.P. Morgan, Barclays, UBS, et cetera. And that was one, just cultivating, letting me see the different options out there, which is something we're trying to show these kids. And then years later, it's been able to come full circle as I've continued to keep in contact with them. And I've been able to take on this longer internship where I actually got a chance to actually start valuing some companies. So again, it just speaks to, you know, I was able to sit down with my boss and we were able to figure out something that, one, can help the company, but then two, help Brandi Coppola in the future. So, you know, for me, I've always managed my own portfolio, for better or for worse. And at the end of
some
the
days
day,
are better than others.
Right, exactly. And at the end of the day, I've always been able to pick stocks and find, you know, a good stock that I thought was going to rise or fall based on the macroeconomic picture. You know, what's going on in the world? You know, why do I think, you know, Apple's stock price is going to rise or fall, et cetera? But I could never tell you the price and why it should be valued at X price, at, you know, why Ford should be valued at X $12.50 versus $13.40. Like, I couldn't tell you that. So with this internship, I got the chance to sit on the IPO desk, the initial public offerings desk, and just work on valuing companies, figuring out, okay, the Snapchat is about to become public. It's being priced at, you know, X to Y. What price should we buy it at? If it's even worth us buying. And, you know, what price should we try to get in at? And if we can't get in at it, how should we trade it? What price should we try to get out of it at? So for me, it was more, one, like I said, figuring out a way to help the firm, but then two, figuring out a way to help myself in the future in my own, you know, managing my own portfolio currently. So, you know, at the end of the day, that's I guess the message that I try to get across the players. And I think that the article obviously gave that some exposure, because a lot of players, coaches, friends, random people have hit me up asking questions about it. And it's been, like I said, it's a great. I think it ended up being great exposure to, hey, what else can I be doing? And and I don't think I think players feel like, hey, or people and players feel like, hey, if I'm working on, if they look at the Wall Street gig as a plan B sometimes, and to be completely honest with you, I want to work for myself the rest of my life. I'm not really trying to work for anyone else, to be completely honest with you. But
I'm familiar with that. I've been an independent for 26 years now, so I get it.
Exactly.
For better or for worse, like your stock thing. He is a lion in Detroit and apparently a wolf on Wall Street, or at least not a lamb, at least, and a Wharton graduate up at Penn. He is with the Detroit Lions defensive end. Brandi Coppola joining us here. He's my Facebook pal, and you can follow him out on Twitter and whatnot. But the number one place to find out about the camp is on his website. It's bcopeland.com. If you go there, you can find the camp. The camp is Saturday, July 8th. It's over at Gilman. It'll be all day long. For you with the camp, what are you trying to do during the day? What can you accomplish in 6 hours of kids running around, eating some lunch, and there because of you and the celebrity part of it? And I know you're trying to give them life skills. What's the football part of this?
Yeah, so I guess to answer your question as bluntly as possible, we have a lot of things planned, and the biggest thing coming back from last year is like, okay, we had a 3-hour camp last year. It was a great camp, but how can we make sure that we get these messages and make sure we give them to these kids so that they can digest it, That's the biggest thing. So we extended the camp. The first thing the kids are doing before we touch a football at all is we're going in the cafeteria at Gilman, and we're completing a community service project together. So the kids from our camp will be putting together 500 book bags, stuffing them with school supplies, and they'll also be putting together 500 hygiene kits, stuffing them with deodorant, soap, lotion, etc. And that will be passed out throughout Baltimore City. So the message behind there, first and foremost, is, hey, you can be a blessing as well at any age. You can give back to your community at any age. And also a message that it took me too long I think, in my own opinion, it took me too long to grasp, was that while you're climbing up your ladder, your own respective ladder to success, you can always reach and bring people along with you. So that's the first thing we'll do before any football is done. After that, we'll go to some football drills, have a good time, but in intermittent, we have breakout sessions in between the football drills. So, you catch the kids when they just want a break of water and stuff like that. They're willing to sit down and actually listen. They're thankful for the break and the heat and all that stuff. And then now we have these role models. We have 2 or 3 role models, these young adults from different professions paired with a group of 20 kids. And now we have 3 breakout sessions throughout the day where now these role models have 10, 15 minutes to talk to their individual group of 20 kids about what they do, their background, how they got to their point, where they're from, etc., so that hopefully by the end of the day, before lunch, hopefully these kids have found someone that they connect with. So now at lunch, they can connect with them even more and ask deeper questions and really find a role model that they can connect with at the camp. And then hopefully after the camp, I know most of my role models, if not all, have already voiced their willingness to exchange information with anyone. We're doing a little booklet now to kind of introduce different professional careers to make sure we hand that out to the kids, and all of the professions, all of the profiles of the people are role models who will be at the camp coaching up the kids and having fun with the kids throughout the day. So,
well, it's the beginning of networking for every kid, right? Finding kids that aren't in their neighborhoods, finding people that aren't from their background or even their age. And, I always say, Bino Ranson's the assistant coach down in Maryland. I coached him when he was a little boy. 30 years later, whatever, it's been 29 years later, we're still into sports. You know what I mean? And still, he's in my phone now, and he's grown up, and I'm a grown, it really is amazing. You're 25 and some of these kids are 12. It won't seem that far off when they're 30 and you're 40 and you're both out in the real world, right?
Right. That's very true. I'm glad you brought up that point. And another thing that I think of, I actually helped out at a friend's camp last weekend, June 24th. Joel Gamble in Baltimore, who's doing some great things as well for youth football camp. But one of the things that I'm big on is, like you said, building that network, that team relationship. So making sure that these kids introduce themselves to each other, and aren't afraid. I'm grouping up like age groups so that these kids can shake each other's hands, exchange information with each other, hold each other accountable. Because at the end of the day, I'm about to go start my own season. These us role models and stuff like that, they're into their professions, they're into their careers. At the end of the day, if you guys are going to make it, quote unquote, make it out together, it's going to take the help of people such as ourselves, and it's a little bit of encouragement. But at the end of the day, you guys are going to be the ones who are going to have to talk to each other all the time. You guys are going to be the ones who have to stay on each other's back and make sure, hey man, you're bringing home the C. I thought we said at Brandon's camp, we would get A's and B's. I need you to get that C up. We need to have kids help hold each other, like I said, accountable at the end of the day. So another big thing, like you said, is that networking, that introducing kids to each other, and making sure they exchange the information so that they can, keep each other honest.
Hey, man, it's always great to catch up with you, and I want to throw this one last thing to you. I know someone will be missing from your camp this year, and Keyon Carpenter was a stalwart in the community around here, and I know a guy that was a role model to a lot of young people around here. And I didn't even know what to say when it all went down. I mean, we do sports radio here. I wasn't going to call his 10 best friends when he just had this tragic moment to talk about him. I figured I'd give it a little bit of space for sure, and people like you would pop up. Right, and here you are, and we haven't talked a lot about it. I guess for the community, for any young athlete in any community that this happens, it's a beloved guy. I mean, it's really a hell of a loss for the community for what he represented here. Definitely,
it's a loss that you can never replace. The only thing, I've been asked that question, in the past couple of weeks. And it really makes you reflect and think. And the only thing you can try to do is hopefully, I hope next Saturday, July 8th, I hope Keyon is looking down on the camp and smiling because he sees the impact that he's had on the community, because a bunch of us are coming together, and we're basically, as an NFL player myself, I'm basically following the lead and the example that he set for me. So, hopefully, I believe he will after, as he watches the camp from above. But, hopefully he's smiling next weekend and, laughing at all of us having a great time and laughing at how far we've come as a community. So, well, first thing I know is when you have a camp on Saturday, July 8th, all I hope for and pray for you is 77, sunny, maybe a few clouds. I'm just hoping it's not a $101, bro. Exactly. You know how that is. I mean, you play in Detroit, you're lucky you're not in Phoenix. Right, exactly. Or Miami or whatever. Hey, man, keep good health, keep good fortune. We'll be following you out in Detroit. Every time you pop up on a screen, I'm like, I know that guy. So and tell Lodi I'll send them some chicken out or whatnot. But there we go. I hope everything's going good for you all summer long, and we hope to see you staying healthy, upright, and making plays in the National Football League here in the fall, man. Wow. Thank you so much. I appreciate you as always. You're one of the good ones. Brandi Coppola of the Detroit Lions of Gilman. The camp is Beyond the Basics. It's a free youth football camp next Saturday, July 8th at the Gilman School, of course, and you can find out more about that at bcopeland.com. You can find me out in the Buy Toyota Audio Vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn Radio app. We come in crystal clear from wherever you happen to be. The morning newspaper ships to your email inbox at 7 a.m. each and every morning. It wakes you up nice and early. It's all brought to you by Coons Ford, Security Boulevard as well. You can find me Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, and streaming live on our Facebook, as well as our YouTube WNSTV channel. Anytime, anywhere, I take emails, nasty@WNST.net. Our text service brought to you by Coons Ford, Security Boulevard. Don't forget, Dennis Kolatzos will be here at 3 p.m. this Thursday, next Thursday, every Thursday, getting you ready for the weekend with the SSV on WNST.net. Always appreciate the sponsorship of our text service and, of course, our Thursday, Sunday sports voice. It's a little confusing, but it's fun. The SSV on WNST is how you follow them on Twitter. I am Nestor. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and
WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.